Hello everyone, my name is Sam Bookless and this is my final presentation. It was a career presentation for math folks. I created an interactive slideshow so that students could choose between two different careers, actuary or engineer. Those two have always interested me, and I think that my students would find them interesting as well, especially if they're in a computer programming class or just in my higher level math classes as well. I enjoyed learning about the necessary requirements for the careers I chose. It was nice to just learn more about them. I had not known a ton about the exams for an actuary, so that was interesting to research about, and it seemed like maybe I'm not cut out for that, and I chose a better career, so that's nice. The biggest piece that I'm still trying to improve upon, and I think maybe it's the limitations of Scratch versus the other programming languages I've dabbled with, is just being able to kind of create a recursive function that can call upon itself, or just creating a function where you have less lines of code essentially. I was trying to do that in Scratch, and I think I did a pretty good job, but I continue to try to search around and solve that problem even more within Scratch. So my program, I had one sprite that was kind of the main hub. It had the backgrounds changing, it had the titles of each slide in it, so that was my main hub. So taking a look here, it was where you start, the green flag, it starts, it broadcasts begin reset. And the reason I have it broadcast is because I have another button later on that broadcasts begin reset as well. So then you can reset the entire program just with the click of a button. So initializes everything and then broadcasts running. And so everything has a broadcast for, or receives a broadcast for begin reset and running. Begin reset to initialize and run to wait for different things. So this actually has a whole nother block that is the same length below, but it took up a lot of room in the picture. But I initially had this simply as forever loops. So when I received that the program is running, it would forever, it wouldn't wait until, it was actually a bunch of if-then statements. And so it was just constantly asking if something was happening, such as if engineer equals 1, if engineer equals 2, if engineer equals 3. And so I changed that actually because it was actually lagging. Scratch was lagging on my computer, and most programs don't. And so I don't know if it's that well optimized for running a bunch of forever loops at the same time, which probably isn't great plan on my part anyways. So instead I changed it so that for this one, I'd wait until actuary or engineer is greater than 0, and then it's going to be one of these things. So it says if engineer equals 1, and then it's going to follow that loop. So it's going to go in order, in sequence from 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, I have another one that's very similar to this right down here that is for actuary. If actuary equals 1, and then it follows wait until actuary equals 2, and so forth. When you begin, you're going to have two career choice sprites. And so again, the begin reset. And this one is simply going to be shown when you make the choice between engineer and actuary. If you choose actuary, it's going to broadcast actuary. It's going to set actuary to 1 and begin. And then if I receive that the engineer was chosen, then the actuary should hide. I had a next arrow. I actually had two different next arrows because I had one in the sequence of following along with the engineer and one following along with the actuary. And since there's only one when this sprite clicked is not able to be put into like an if-then statement within Scratch, I had to create two different ones because it would be two different situations when the sprite was clicked. And then I had the home button. Home button would be the one that broadcasts when it was clicked to begin and reset. However, it shouldn't be shown until it's on the second slide, not on the main slide. So it also waits until actuary or engineer are greater than. 0. All right, so choose a career. We'll start with actuary here. Actuary, what is an actuary? Talks about what an actuary does. As you can see, here's the arrow and the home button. So we could go ahead and click the home button if we didn't want to learn about actuary anymore. We already figured out that that is not for us. So let's maybe talk about what is an engineer. Okay, gives you a slide. You can learn about that, how to become an engineer. So again, the arrow changes that. This is an engineer, a famous engineer, Nikola Tesla. And then we would get to the Works Cited page. Again, we can hit home, run through actuary the whole way this time, how to become an actuary, talking about the exams. This is an actuary, John Brunt. And Works Cited again. And you could hit the red stop and then green again, or just home, and there we go. Everything is reset. So what I know a lot about Scratch now. This being my second introduction, or previously in this class we talked about Scratch and I used it then, and now I used it more. What I want to know is better ways to utilize just more pieces within Scratch if there's more ways to manipulate it more so as a programming language. I understand it's pretty basic, but I would assume that there are people who have made it very complex as well. So it'd be interesting. And what I learned a lot about two careers that interest me, engineering and being an actuary. And so this was a informational and interesting project. Thank you very much.